Welcome to Cricket 8. Jarrod Kimber here. Roberto Barron with me as well. He's fresh off his 70 to 1. 70 to 1. 70 to 1 Krunal Pandya bet on most runs. And I tell you what, you usually get a lot of nice things about Rob on the comments. There's a lot of people just saying what an idiot Rob was all the way through. And then he pulls off a 70 to 1 shot, which, he is an idiot. Just not in that stuff. In every other factor of his life, absolutely, utterly, without any question, one of the stupidest men I've ever met. Specifically betting on cricket, very smart. Anyway, let's just go through the points table because things have changed quite a bit here. The points table, as it stands, has RCB on top, which is obviously wrong. We'll get to that in a minute. But Gujarat is second. Mumbai jump up to third, which is really fascinating. Delhi is fourth. Punjab are hanging on at fifth, 1 point back, half a game back, if you will. And LSG now is a further game back. And the reason why I've said it the way I have is that is the way that the points table is. Points per game, Rob, which is a much more accurate way of doing it because Gujarat have only played 8 games. They should actually be on top of this.
It's about like that. You don't get given points for games you haven't played yet. So that's why the table.
So points per game. Gujarat 1.5 points, RCB 1.4, Delhi 1.33, and then you've got Punjab and Mumbai on 1.22 and 1.2. LSG is 1 point per game at the moment, so the 50-50 team, of course. And KKR, I'm just going to throw in there. They've got 7 points, and they have 6 games left to play. And they are at 0.77 points per game. So they're a long way back. But they obviously can go on a tear and win 6 games here and change things up very, very quickly. But if you look at this at the moment, and then just on net run rate, Gujarat is 1.1 and Mumbai is just behind them at 0.8. So they're a big step up on the other side as well. So for me, Gujarat, obviously the top team at the moment. Rob will get angry at that. But I think this basically tells us that I think we now have a top 5, and it might be a shootout between Delhi and Punjab for that 4th spot.
Well, on my table, I've done it alphabetically. But I don't know whether to do Bangalore or RCB. So Bangalore are either top or somewhere down the bottom.
Also, where do you fit Punjab's name in? Because they've changed where their name is in the top.
So if we're making up reasons to make tables, like favourite colour, like Chennai are much higher up than
Just
bottom.
admit that it's a stupid way of doing a table.
You get points for winning, and whoever's got the most points is at the top of the table. If you've played less games,
you can't have a team who has 10 games who has
games in hand. It's how because if they lose those games, they don't go to the top, do they? And they have.
So then do it as points per game, Rob. Just do it as points per game. They have played 2 more games than someone else. Of course, they're in a position where they should have more points.
They have 2 fewer points. So what they have to do to get to the top of the table is win those games or win one of those games and not.
Actually, they don't. They don't need to do that. They could actually have 2 washouts. Their net run rate wouldn't change, and they'd still be on top. So right? So that actually tells you how ridiculous a points table is in a short format. Just admit you're wrong, Rob. You got a 70 to 1 shot today. Just admit you are wrong, and Faf du Plessis should not have picked up that ball 3 meters out of his crease today when it was still rolling towards the bowler. That's all you have to say.
Yeah, so him and KL and to a lesser extent Axar cost them that game with the bat.
Forget about the game. Stop being a nerd. All right.
Sure.
So right at the moment,
Bangalore top and Gujarat second.
Okay, so Gujarat and RCB are pretty safe. Delhi actually has, if you look at points per game, Delhi is going okay here, right? And especially because Punjab had the washout the other day. They might have lost that game, of course, but they got the 1 point out of it. It feels to me, though, that Mumbai, even though they are slightly behind as far as points per game, they look like the best, one of the most informed teams. They have been playing a lot of dud sides of recent times, right? The win over LSG was an important one because it was against a contender. They've been playing a lot of the teams at the bottom. But I would say at the moment, Mumbai look like, to me, the most likely. I like them. And then it feels like it's out of Delhi and Punjab with perhaps KKR going on a run. But LSG is still only 5-5, so things could go back. But I've just never been that confident with LSG. Who do you think's going to? Do you think RCB, Gujarat, and Mumbai are the most likely playoff teams? And do you think the spot is open beneath them?
Correct. Yes, I do think that. Gujarat are really consistent because of the top 3. and the bowling's okay.
Agreed.
Bangalore have options all over the place, and they've got the best chaser in history. They're fine, and Hazelwood's bowling really, really well, so they're fine. Mumbai have won 5 in a row, and they've got some of the best bats in the format in gun form.
Yeah.
And they've got Bumrah, so that's good. So they're not going to suddenly lose every game from here. They've only got to kind of be about average. They're going to be favourites for every game they play for the rest of the IPL. Mumbai, we know that. The market will make them favourites for every game they play. So very hard for Mumbai not to make the playoffs here. It'd have to be Bumrah gets injured again and Sky goes down with something or whatever. Like it's got something really bad's got to happen for Mumbai not to get in there. I don't think Delhi are home and hosed. I don't think that spot is certain. I think those 3, I'd be shocked if those 3 aren't in the playoffs, and then it opens up. I think the rest of them, you can cut Rajasthan and Chennai off. SRH have to go absolutely bananas and win out by miles. So hard to see it with them out of form as they are. KKR have got a duff opening partnership this year, so very hard to see them doing it. Like you can't just do it on 2 good spinners.
Yeah.
And I don't see how. I was massively negative on Lucknow at the start, and Puran just did unbelievable Puran things for 4 games in a row. And they also won the really tight ones, didn't they? The 2 that were absolute nail biters, they won those. They could have easily lost those, and they'd be cut adrift. Lucknow. On the evidence of today, when they just don't have bowlers, they don't have bowlers that can do anything. It's so hard unless Puran gets 80 off 38 every game for them to win matches. So the rest of them, and then Punjab are just super, super volatile with the way they play their cricket. So I think it's the top 3 will be in the playoffs, and then the other one is up for grabs. Delhi are the best place. I like Punjab. I like the way they're set up, and I think with the both openers looking in good form in that rained off game the other day, I think they might be back a bit, Punjab. So Punjab probably sneak in for me, but it's close.
Vibo said game per point. Just look at the number of losses. You can look at the number of losses. That becomes a problem when you have a lot of draws, by the way, or ties. Well, not ties in this format, but you know what I mean. I think that's a good way of looking at it. The thing with LSG is in that game today, if Digvesh doesn't work, and Mayank bowled okay, but not perfectly. What else have we got? Do you know what I mean? I just don't see how they pull it back. And once they got behind the 8 ball today, it was like, what's going to change for them outside of Puran scoring 100 off 32 balls?
Well, the problems they've had this season is Pant hasn't scored a run. 1 innings he's played okay, and the rest he's been awful, genuinely awful. And Miller hasn't done anything in the whole season either. Miller hasn't done anything. And half of their stack has been on those 2 players, and they've contributed nothing. So when all the bowlers were injured before the competition started and they're throwing Hail Marys out and having Shardul as the leader of their attack all of a sudden, you needed Bishnoi to be good, and he has not been good for the whole season. He's not been landing it. He's not been the wicket threat. He's not kept the runs down, and he can't battle field despite hitting Bumrah for a massive 6, which was one of the best moments of the competition. Hit 2 sixes today. I don't see how that team can possibly do anything because a lot of their big players that they should be banking on, they're carrying 4 crap players whenever they play. And so they need their big players to all be good. And 2 of their highest paid players have done absolutely nothing. And they're not captained very well. Pant doesn't seem to be juggling the pack particularly well or smart. And today, every single one of their bowlers went for 10 plus and over. They can't throw the ball to anyone to go, let's do this. At least we'll keep the runs down, or you're the wicket threat. They don't have anything. So they cannot win it. And I'd be surprised if they sneak into the playoff. They've also got a negative net run rate now, haven't they? Minus 0.3 something, which is like being an extra point lower than what they are. So it's very difficult to see them making it here.
So Bumrah took wickets today. He was the top bowler. I think we talked about it beforehand, about his form and everything. Michael Vaughan apparently tweeted during the game that Bumrah was back in form. I don't think we felt like he was back in form. I think we felt like he got a couple of lucky ones, and I actually feel he's been really lucky since he's come back in. I think if Bumrah's being hit for 6 by Ravi Bishnoi, he's not at 100%. But at the same point, he's getting wickets and he's not going for a lot of runs. So if as long as he's in form within the next week and a half to 2 weeks, that doesn't really matter. But he does change Mumbai's team quite a bit, right? Because the batting is deep and there's lots of it. And even Bosch came in today and did some boshing.
Bumrah isn't back yet, but every over that he bowls, he's closer to being back because he is the very best at bowling in the whole world comfortably. And so we've probably got about 60-65% of Bumrah right now, and that's still as good as anyone else. It's still that good. Like the bad Stark is utterly abysmal, as we saw earlier as well with his power play over that just got hoofed everywhere. The bad Bumrah is lucky, like he has been in this IPL. Like he bowled like a drain a couple of games ago and got 2 wickets off full tosses at really important times. His power play over today was actually, if you look at the balls that he bowled, was rubbish. And he got 1 for 2 off the over. Like he bowled a leg stump pie to an in-form bat, and he got caught on the rope. Like in the column, it says Bumrah came on when they were 18 for none after 2 overs, and after his over, they were 20 for 1. What a legend. But he didn't actually bowl very well. So Michael Vaughan might be able to look at a scorecard and tell you what happened. His next power play over to the new bat, Bumrah got smacked for 6 and went for 11. That doesn't normally happen when he comes back in the power play.
Two sixes, right? Bishnoi and Mitchell Marsh hit him for 6s. And I don't want to say if he gets hit for 6, he's not in form, because there are sometimes when he's in form and he's just bowled poorly. But he's not in 100% rhythm if he's getting hit for 6s, I think is probably the safest.
And particularly not by Bishnoi. It's impossible. But he also did get an over in the 16th over where there was 3 wickets in the over, and it only went for 2. So if you look at the scorecards, you're like, Bumrah's back, he's awesome. But the balls that he got the wickets with, yes, he got a couple of bowled at new bats that were facing him when they had to be whacking, and he cleaned them up because he's great. Like, let's not get away from that. But he's not the real Bumrah just yet, because he is.
You're saying that Jasper Bumrah is good at cricket?
That you heard that first. That is a hot take, and he is very good at cricket. He will only get better, Bumrah, because he's getting more.
Let's talk about RCB. I know we're jumping across the games a little bit, but I want to talk about the teams that are most important. So Lucknow sort of dropping out of the top 4 is, I think, quite interesting. And of course now, Mumbai finally, with all these games in a row, where they've been playing poor teams, but they've still been playing really good cricket and coming together. RCB now have won 6 on the trot away, which I think is a record. And if it's not a record, it should be a record. So if you look at that chase, they got themselves in all sorts of trouble with the run out of Karan Nayak. 26 for 3. They were way behind everything else. We know it's an ideal chase for Virat Kohli, the 160 odd. Like, no one's going to complain about. Like, I can't think of another cricketer in the history of T20 cricket you would rather have in that particular chase, right? Maybe Pete Dhoni, but even then, I'd rather Kohli, because he's going to come in earlier and control that chase, whereas Dhoni's going to do it later on. But the interesting thing is that Krunal Pandya was brought in. You had him as top bat at 70 to 1, which, you thought that would only come up if Virat went out. Instead, they put on this incredible partnership. Krunal Pandya, he batted like a guy who's not a specialist batter at times. Like, there were some mistakes he made. He had some luck and everything else. But he also whacked 6s and took the pressure off Virat and allowed Virat to do that. And it was after Krunal had also taken a wicket and bowled quite well in the first innings. So the thing about their batting is that, and this is always my concern with the kind of batting they have, that sort of Jitesh, David, Livingston, and also Shepherd middle that they have is incredibly combustible. Right? Yeah. Like, it's a bunch of guys who could go out first and second ball back to back to back to back, right? Like, if that's how you play that lineup, it could go really poorly. But having someone like Krunal who can play the Akshar Patel type role and has done that for Lucknow and has done that before actually gives you a little bit of that sort of insurance that you need to come up, and then it elongates your batting when it works, right? And it almost didn't work. He was, 25 off 28 before Mukesh bowled that absolutely horrendous bouncer down the leg side that Krunal smashed.
Yeah. So when you have a batting order that you can move around depending on what you need, and you have someone of Kohli's undoubted quality, Kohli scored at a strike rate of 108 today. 108, right? Which for most chases of 165 is a load of old crap. But if he didn't do that today, they'd have lost. If he didn't do that today, because they were 1 wicket away from carnage, but so many teams stick with their batting order that goes hitter in the middle, and they lose those hitters when it's tough. If you've got the ability to bring in a Krunal as a firefighter, someone that can just soak it up. Aksar's very good at it himself. Soak it up and face 15 balls to make sure that we don't have Tim David. Tim David's entry point today, perfecto. Bowling change, abysmo. They put Mukesh onto him. He's got 12 balls left to face. They only needed 17. And he went 6-4, 4-4. Thanks for coming. Goodbye. Because he was able to come in at the perfect entry point, facing bad pace at the end. If he had to come in the middle overs, facing good spin, he'd have been due 12 runs at strike rate 80 or something before he becomes a useful commodity again. But when you can move your batting order around and go, right, at the time hit, yes, Cornell could have got out first ball. It could have happened. It was doing a bit at the time. But teams that can change their batting order and do the horses for courses thing, and like you said, elongate the batting order, it's all about entry points, isn't it? It's not about your number 3, 4 or 5. It's you're good at doing this. You're good at bashing the power play. You're good at being the anchor. You're good at smashing the spin. You're good at chilling out and soaking up pressure. Everyone should know what their job is. And RCB seem to be quite good at that. And today they didn't have Salt because he's ill and hopefully he'll be fine next time. But they go, Bethel, what's your job? Hoof it. And he got a 6 away and then he got out fine. Padikal was alarmingly bad, his shot. And there was a silly run out for Patidar, a good piece of fielding from there. But they were only chasing 160, Jarrod. So they didn't have to do stupid stuff. They just needed to make sure when they were 26 for 3 that they didn't lose another wicket for a while. And they didn't lose another wicket with Kohli just basically playing the easiest net you've ever watched, Virat Kohli's 50 there. They ended up losing the next wicket with the score at 145. And when they were 26 for 3, it looked like they weren't going to chase those runs. And then a bit of Cronal luck and a bit of not great cricket from the Delhi bowlers, and they chased that with ease in the end.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think what it makes me feel a little bit more comfortable about RCB watching that, because that is something that I was worried about. I worry about taking wickets, which, to be fair, Josh Hazlewood and Krunal Pandya have done at a much bigger level than they generally ever have before. So they've overcome some of that. And the other one was this thing of what happens when you have to have all these guys who are wacky in a bit too early in the batting, right? They got themselves into trouble and they got themselves out. So I really like that as well. Just want to talk about Delhi a little bit here. The strategy at times went off the rails. I think they've made some good calls recently. I like Akshar opening the bowling. I think that's a really interesting one for the kind of team they are. But they just make little mistakes with strategy at key times all the way through. I think Darshan has said that they're washed. And if you look at where they are at the moment, they're 6-3. They shouldn't be washed, right? But if you look at their next few games, they've got KKR, Sunrisers, then they've got Punjab, Gujarat, and Mumbai to finish the season. So if they only go 1-1 in the next 2 games, they're a real chance of slipping down at the end, which is what we were talking about before. Whereas if you compare that to Punjab have CSK, LSG, and then obviously they're also playing Delhi. And then they've got Mumbai and Rajasthan. That last game might not sound like much, but if it comes down to some needing to win that game, they've got just a bit more flexibility, I think, within that. And what's remarkable is if you look at someone like Gujarat, their next 2 games. Do you know who they're against?
Raj and SRH. I do know.
So their last game of the year is against CSK. So it shows you that at this stage, these things are very, very important, and who you are playing and when you are playing them. So for instance, Punjab, Lucknow, and Delhi are all playing for that last spot, right? But Kolkata play Delhi in their next game. They then play Rajasthan, CSK, and Sunrisers in the next 3 games before that. And then they play RCB, who might already have a top 2 position locked off by that point, right? Like, that could be an incredibly good run for KKR. So all these things are on the table. We're just pointing them out. Okay, I want to ask you a question. We've been going for 20 minutes. We can finish up here.
Cool.
Can Mumbai Indians win the title?
Yep. They can, because they have the best bowler, definitely, and arguably the best batsman, and they've got loads of other players that do stuff. Yes, they absolutely can win it this time. And the fact that they didn't bugger around for half the season before they decided to be good gives me a lot more faith. I think there are weaknesses that Mumbai have. I think those on a bad day, those opening bowlers that have to bowl 4 overs between them out of the last 6 can get absolutely hoofed. Chahar proved that again today, and Bolt was actually good. But when Chahar's bad, he's awful, isn't he? And they don't have any spinners, Jarrod. They don't have any spinners. So if the
whoa. Didn't we commentate on a game where Khan Sharma was good, or were you not on that game?
Yeah, all right. I've seen Khan Sharma be good, but he's not going to be good for the rest of the season. And Will Jacks isn't going to keep bowling 1 over for 2 runs.
I forgot about Will Jacks, Murali Jacks. It's going to win you anything. Can RCB win the title?
I mean, they're RCB, so
but yes,
they could easily get to the final, but then they'll bugger it up. This is their best chance, right? And I don't say I'm not one of these whatever you call them people who say every year that this could be their year. I never say this could be their year, because I always think they're crap and they've got holes in and they couldn't win anything and all the rest of it. But if you look at the balance of their team and what they were able to do today, for example, which could have been a banana skin, this is the chance. They've actually got an overseas bowler who's good. Do you know what I mean? They've actually got one who's good, who's bowling well. They've got players that are fitting in quite nicely with roles. I think they're probably a bowler short, because today it was okay, but they, can you really bowl 4 overs of Yash Dayan and Surya Sharma every game? Can you really do that? Probably not.
Yeah.
So like all the teams, you can pick holes in it quite easily, actually, RCB. I don't think they'll win it, but they have a much better chance than in years gone by, because they're doing slightly smarter things. It's not just, oh, look, we've got AB and Gale, so everything's amazing. And they've got like 9 of the best 20 bats, but they don't have any bowlers. At least this time, they've got some thinking going on. I think the batting has got everything covered. Krunal is overperforming right now in a big way. And I don't mean
Josh Hazlewood, though, to be fair. They're both overperforming, considering that my big issue was the wickets. Krunal's got 11 and Josh has got, 18, 19? They're overperforming, but they're also very good players who are very experienced. I'd rather an experienced player like that. Like if you look at Will Jacks is overperforming with the ball at the moment, right? You and I have seen enough about Will Jacks to be like, well, eventually it's going to go the other way. And he sometimes really struggles with the ball as well. As he gets in a good rhythm for a couple of weeks and then it disappears. If you're going to have players who really know their game overperforming, I always think that's a better situation. Okay, so RCB can win, Mumbai can win. I agree with both of those. Can Delhi Capitals win the title?
No.
And remember that the guy who hates you the most is in the comments just telling you that he hates you because of this, and you said no, didn't you?
That's a big cue that he's joining the back of. If he's anyway, no, they can't win, right? Because today was a prime example of why they can't win, is because when they had the option to stick and play like wuss boys or twist and try and get a bigger score, they stuck, right? They all went, well, what we'll do is we'll defer risk till later, because they also keep picking the wrong bloody team, right? They keep batting first and picking the bowling 11 when you're allowed an impact sub. So today was a prime example of how to be stupid when you're setting up. So they picked the bowling 11. So they had all these bowlers in when they're batting first. So they've got Mukesh, Kuldeep, Jamira, Stark, Nigam when they're batting first, right? Don't need all them. Play the extra bat, use the sub later. So instead what they did is they were like, well, we've got a really long tail, so we have to defer risk. Perel played really well, but he got out early. He only faced 11 balls, but he got his 28. So he absolutely did his job, right? So he's a big tick, did his job. Faf came in and was like, well, I haven't played for a while. I'm going to be selfish and play for myself. Faf du Plessis. That's all I care about now. Yep. I'm going to get myself back into form. Sod whether we're getting a good total or not. And he stunk the place out for 26 balls and scored 22. And he got out after a break when they told him, you better get on with it now. And the first shot he played, he got out. Absolutely stunk the place out. Karen Nair got out quickly. KL then came in. Now, KL this season has been a revelation in that he has scored at a quick strike rate. But today, for whatever reason, he said, well, I don't want to expose our hitters already, so I'm going to have to knuckle down and score a run at ball. And he got 40 or 40. Not good enough. Axar, 15 or 15 or whatever it was. Not good enough. And then they all batted as if they didn't have the extra bat. And then they subbed the extra bat in anyway, who immediately got out. So they did everything wrong. Stubbs played really well. But he was only in for 18 balls again. He was only in at the end. So they don't know how to do it. And also Stark is, we say he's hot and cold. When he's cold, he's so bad. Like they talk about dart players a lot, and like most of darts is decided when your B game is good enough to see you through. Everyone's A game is unreal. Stark has an unreal A game, and for a lot of time, 10 years ago, he used to bring that to tournaments like this and World Cups and stuff. And you could always rely on him, even when he wasn't on, to bowl the searing 93-mile-an-hour leg stump Yorker and clean up tails and stuff. Can't do that anymore. So when he's bad, he's really bad. They do stupid things. They've got some old people in their team. No, they're not going to win it, Delhi. And
so just on Delhi, as I said, they've got now. I think KKR are at least a fringe team, like as in a fringe playoff chance. I don't think they're going to make it, but they have that there. And
they're playing the three high vol teams next, aren't they? Delhi.
Yeah. So I just think that's a little bit tricky for them. Whereas Punjab have the chance to go ahead of Delhi with the win over CSK. And then it's the head-to-head. It might just be the head-to-head that eventually does it. But I do like the fact that Punjab have the game against Royals at the end of the year when there's nothing on the line for the Royals at all. Anyway, that is it for us on Cricket 8. We have done 93 hours of recording today. Rob is through his 4th laptop. My daughter has made him dance more than we thought. We saw my sick cat at one stage. But I think also Rob Barron might have got a 70-1 shot. And I think if you run into him, he'll be telling you about it. Does Krunal Pandya go on the wall behind you?
Yeah, he might get a place on the wall now. Yeah, why not? Let's get a sign.
Because I think people think the wall behind you is players that you really like. It's not players you really like, is it? It's players who've won your money.
I mean, there are players I really like on there, but most of them are there because they've won me buckaroos. There's Inzi. There he is.
He didn't win. Did he win you any money?
No, I just love him, and I look quite a lot like him. So, yeah, that's that.
Just a shout out as well. The Cricket 8 game, we didn't really get a chance to talk about it much today because all the games sort of smudged in together. But the updates have started happening. So if you're a member on Cricket 8 now, the trading game and some of the other advanced stats and everything are starting to come in. So by next week, we should be able to do them. And you can even trade with us while the game is going on if you would like to do that as well. That man is Rob Barron. This man is Jarrod Kimber. And we'll see you again very soon, again on Cricket 8. You can watch the game, but what if you could do more? Cricket 8 is the new way to enjoy cricket. Now you can watch your favorite sport while playing against your mates. Think someone is going to score more than 10 in the next over and your friends don't? Play against them. Cricket 8 is the future of watching your favorite sport. Don't just watch the game, play the game at cricket8.com.